The leg press is one of my favorite machine exercises to target the quads. One of the many reasons that I love this exercise is because it's not axially loaded, meaning that there's no weight on your shoulders going down your spine. Rather, you're lying on your back and you're able to push the sled away from you without having to worry about balance and stability. So by taking balance, stability, and coordination out of the exercise, you can target the quads and really just focus on mind-muscle connection. I like to use a quad dominant technique when performing the leg press. So in order to do this, you've got to place your feet lower down on the platform. The lower your feet are, the more knee flexion that you'll be able to achieve, which means that you'll be able to train your quads at longer muscle lengths. So basically, the idea is that you want to try get your calves to touch your hamstrings. That calf to hamstring position will be dictated by your ankle joint mobility, your hip mobility, as it would during any closed chain leg exercise. Because in order to get your knees over your toes, you need good ankle joint mobility. Now this version here, I've placed my feet a bit higher on the platform, which has turned it into more of a hip dominant or glute dominant leg press. Far less quad involvement. As you can see, the range of motion of the knee joint is far less than the other version, which means the quads will be working at shorter muscle lengths and not going through quite the same range of motion. There are a few things you can do to tweak this exercise to make it work with your biomechanics. Most leg press machines will have the option to change the angle of the backrest. That's going to be really important if you have, say, tight hips or even tight ankles like myself. So I like to put the back support on the lowest possible setting so that I can really reduce the amount of hip flexion that is required to get to that bottom position at the full range of motion where my knees are over my toes and my quads are being maximally stimulated. Some leg press machines allow for the platform to be manipulated so that you can slightly elevate your heels. Yet again, this is a great way to get your knees over your toes if you have tight ankle joint mobility, which can help stimulate the quads at longer muscle lengths. If your heels slightly come off the platform at the bottom of the rep, it's okay. You don't have to worry too much about that. Again, because this is a safe exercise that's not loaded in the axial position, meaning that your spine is not under tremendous stress compared to, say, a back squat if you get out of position. And finally, the width of your feet will also dictate which muscles are being used. I actually like to keep my toes pointing forward with a more narrow stance at the bottom of the platform, but choose a stance that feels comfortable for your hip joint mechanics. Everyone's a little bit different, everyone's hips are anatomically a little bit different, so perhaps you might need a slightly wider base with your toes pointing out a little bit, or you can get away with having a really narrow base. At the end of the day, just choose a foot position that makes you feel it in your quads the best. Remember, this is all about mind-muscle connection and getting a high-quality contraction in the target muscle.